That was well done. That was well done. Very well. That was the best introduction I've had here. It was smooth, no hitches. So you taught this young man well. I'm glad to be here with you guys today. I'm not going to keep you long. It's not going to be a long speech. You know, you're not going to be falling asleep and texting and all that. So just lock in for me for about 15 or 20 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, but not much longer. It's going to be short and to the point, because I really want you guys to impact, you know, your life in a certain way. And hopefully after you leave this speech today, you get a few nuggets that will help you do that. And just understand, like he mentioned, you know, with me standing here today, it's been a long journey to get to this point. There's a long process to get to everywhere you want to get to in life. There's nothing that comes easy. He talked about the book. I wrote the book last year, From Poverty to Prominence, Beating the Odds. And the reason why I wrote the book is because I wanted you guys to have a pathway, and people like you to have a pathway to understand there is hope. You know, I grew up in public housing, and it was really, really tough and really, really rough. But at the same time, I always had hope. My mom gave me that inspiration and that hope, and hopefully that's what people, when they read the book, they can get hope, and then they can get that blueprint to success. That's some of the things that I covered in the book, From Poverty to Prominence and Beating the Odds. And so hopefully today you'll get some of that out of this speech. So I'm gonna start, and I'm using my phone, you know, kind of to touch on a few notes, but I'm gonna start with, does your experience match your dream? Everyone in college has this dream, and it's great. Oh, I want to do this. You know, I'm trying to get to the next level. But does your college experience match that? And what do I mean by that? I mean, if you have a goal of, you know, so many people tell me they want to work in sports, or they want to be an administrator, or they want to be a principal, or they want to be a teacher, or they want to, you know, work for the Pistons or the Red Wings, or whatever your goal is. But does your experience now match where you're trying to go? And when I was here at Ferris State University a long time ago, one of the things, and Dr. A would tell you, I created a lot of different things. One of them was a TV show called In Between the Lines. They still do it. It's a Ferris coaches show. It's called something else now. But I created that 20 years ago. And the reason why I created that, because I knew I wanted to do something in communication and something in broadcasting when I got out. And so I needed to start creating things while I was here. I also did 3 internships while I was here, because I knew that's something that I needed to do, that I needed to do if I want to do that when I got out. So I worked with Dr. A. We created different documents, and we got, you know, a brand new set for the TV show. We did a lot of different things to create an experience here that matched my dreams. So think about that. While you're walking around this campus of Ferris State University, you have to go above and beyond to create that experience here while you're here, so when you get out and have these big dreams, it's there. I've talked to so many student athletes over the years, and students, that they said, hey, you know what, Mr. Childress, I want to be an athletic director like you. I want to work in sports administration. I want to work for the NCAA. All of that's great. But when they're here, I said, what did you do? What did you do while you're on campus? Oh, I didn't do much. I went to class. You know, I hung out a little bit at Shooters. I just, you know, basically, you know, I was existing and got my degree. Well, guess what? That doesn't work, because when you get out there, it's competitive. And everybody you're going against, they're going to have a leg up. And I knew that the people that I was going with from the University of Michigan, Michigan State, and all those great campuses that people say that are unbelievable, Ivy Leagues, all those places, I felt like I had to compete with them. And the way I was going to compete with them, it wasn't that, hey, you know, that I was going to, they were going to get A and I was going to get an A and it was going to be even. It was like, know what? I'm going to do more things than they did. And that's exactly what I did. My last year here, I did 3 internships in 1 year. One at ZZM in Grand Rapids, the other one at 9 and 10, and another one at Fox 2 in Detroit in the same year, because I knew when I got out of here, I wanted to have that leg up. So ask yourself right now, does your college experience that you have, match your dream? And I'm not telling you you can't do other things and have fun here. I also was a part of the football team. We won a championship. I was involved on campus. I did a lot of fun stuff too, but also I was focused on my career and a dream that I had. So think about that and make sure you check the box on that, because that's something that you cannot get back, and it's very, very important going forward. Number 2, your interest versus your passion. And let me explain what I mean by that. I feel like a lot of you are interested in stuff. You know what? I'm interested in this. I'm interested in being in sports. I'm interested in working for USC, or I'm interested in working for the Rams or the Titans or the Chiefs. I'm interested. And that won't be enough to get you there, that interested piece. This has to be your passion. And you have to find your passion and ask yourself what you really want to do. When I first got to college, I was interested in being an industrial psychologist. You know, I didn't really know what it meant, but it sounded good, right? So I was like, hey, you know what? I want to be an industrial psychologist. Obviously, I knew what psychology was, and I knew what the industry was, but I didn't really know what that field. And so I started taking some classes. And after a while, it was like, you know what? I'm interested in this, but this is not my true passion. When you become successful in life, you will follow your true passion. You know what? I don't need an alarm clock in the morning. You know why I don't need an alarm clock? Because I wake up before my alarm. I'm up before my 2-year-old gets up, and that's hard to do. Yeah, believe me. But I'm excited. I'm up. I'm outside. I'm going for my walk. I get up at 4:30, go for my walk. I get back about 5:15, shower. I'm in the office. I beat everyone to the office. I'm in the office by 6:20, and school doesn't even start until 8 o'clock. You know why? Because I'm not interested in this profession that I'm in. It's my passion. It's my passion. I live it every single day, every single night. I work long days, long hours, but I don't feel like it. When I come out of a game at 10 o'clock at night, and I've been there since 6, I'm still pumped up. I'm still excited because I'm doing what I love to do. You can't fake that. You can't create that. It has to be in you. So right now, if you're sitting here thinking, you know what? I may be interested in doing this career, then I would think a little bit longer and say, you know what? I wouldn't do it then, because you want to find something that you're truly, truly passionate about. You know why Dr. Ray can be so excited after doing tons and tons of events like this? You know why she can come down here like it's her first time and be pumped up? Because she's living her passion. When she walked in today, she was pumped. She was excited. And she's been teaching here longer than all of you have been alive. Not to date her or anything. But she's working inside her passion. So whatever you do, make sure you work and find that. And it may not be this, and that's fine. But find whatever it is that passion is, you gotta find that. And you gotta be excited about that. And that's very important. The interested stuff, that won't get it. If you're interested, there's people gonna pass you by quickly because they're loving it and it's their passion. So that's something that's very important. Number 3, how bad do you want it? You know what? You know, I talk about in the book multiple failures. And people have called me since I put the book out and said, boy, I didn't know that happened to you. Man, I didn't know that happened to you. Wow, I didn't know you were in that situation. I had so many different failures and roadblocks, but I wanted it that bad. I remember one story in the book, you know, I remember coming to Dr. Ray, and I said, listen, my financial aid is gone. This was after I finished playing. I had no financial aid, and I went to talk to the people at the financial aid office. They said, listen, there's a bill that you have to pay, and it was something like, you know, $5,000 or $6,000. I don't know how much it was, more than what I had at the time. And I told Dr. Ray, this is what I got to do. I got to drop out of school right now. And she looked at me and she said, hey, you know what, I understand. And I said, but I'll be back. And her words to me, and they still ring to this day when I was writing a book last year, her words to me, you know what, I've heard that before. I've heard people say they're going to come back, and most of the time they don't. And I said, you know what, let me get your number because I'm going to call you while I'm gone. And every few weeks I would call her and say, hey, I'm working. And I worked 2 jobs. I was saving money as I was going, and I was away from school. And that was after I had played football, I had done all this stuff. And I was really, at first, I was embarrassed. I was like, man, I can't believe this happened to me. But then something told me, hey, you know what? Don't give yourself a pity party. Now it's time to get up and step up and do this. And so that's when I went to work at this health facility. I was working another job. I was doing camps. Whatever the case may be, I raised enough money, and I came back. I remember the first day I came back, I ran and seen Dr. A. It was the next semester. She said, hey, she was excited to see me, but the next thing out of her mouth was, we got work to do. You back, but now we got to take 20 credit hours to make up for the time you was gone. So I'm behind the 8 ball again. But that semester, I made the dean's list. And the reason why I made the dean's list was because I was so determined. I knew that opportunity I had was there, and I wanted it that bad. So you have to ask yourself, how bad do you really, really want it? Because if you don't want it that bad, again, you're not going to get to that dream. When I talked about in the open, finding that dream job. But that dream job and all the stuff that comes with it is only because you want it that bad. I remember just a couple days ago laying in the bed, at night. My wife opened up the window. She said, boy, look at that view. And I reminded her, it took me 20 years to get that view. So nothing, we live on a beautiful cove up the lake. I mean, it's beautiful. But in Miami, it's beautiful. But it took a long time to make that happen. And you can't get there if you don't want it. And if you don't want it that bad. And it sounds cliche and say, well, I kind of want it. Kind of want it is not going to do it. Are you willing to get up at 4:30 in the morning? Are you willing to beat people to the office at 6 a.m.? Are you willing to stay up to 10, 11 o'clock doing what you need to do and then bounce back up the next day? I remember one of my bosses told me when I first got my AD job, she said, hey, listen, I know you're doing games at night. She was the principal. She said, I know you're doing games at night. So you can come in a little bit later and do what you need to do the next day. Come in about 10, 11. And I was like, okay. And the next day, after being there till 10:30, I was there at 6:30. I beat her there. And she said, man, why did you do that? I said, listen, I'm not looking for a trap door. I'm not looking for anything but to work hard and grind. And that same lady called me last week and said, hey, listen, you're one of our nominees this year for the Hall of Fame. And you only get there by hard work and wanting it really, really bad. That's so important. I can't emphasize that enough. Because again, if you kind of want it, that won't make it. Number 4, over-deliver. Over-deliver. You must over-deliver. Everything you do, you must over-deliver. Anytime I got a job in my career, I got the job description, and I really learned it and threw it away. And the reason why I learned it and threw it away is because that wasn't going to apply to me. The job description was that was like a prerequisite. That was like something you had to do to get to where you wanted to go. But I wasn't thinking about doing a job description. That was like just enough. That was just enough. I wanted to over-deliver. When I worked here at Ferris University, we created so many different programs and all kinds of things. The innovation was there. And the reason why we did that was because we wanted the students to have a great experience. And to have that great experience, you have to over-deliver. So wherever you go in that internship, and wherever that may be, when you're thinking about your intern, When you get there, don't do what everybody else is doing. Don't just do enough. You ask the person there, hey, what can I do extra? And if they say, hey, you know what? It's a blank sheet of paper. Take that blank sheet of paper and go to work. When I worked in alumni relations here, David L. Iser was the president at the time. He's still the president now. And he said to me, you know what? I'm new here. He was new then. That's how long ago it was. He said, I'm new here. He said, I would like to meet some alumni. And I said, okay. He said, well, you know, maybe we can drive to some places and go do that. And I said, all right. I said, how about give me a day or so, I'll come back. I came back to him that next day with a whole outline plan to do a statewide bus tour and meet all of these alums across the state. He said, oh, wow, this is brilliant. Let's do it. We did this bus tour. We met thousands of alums throughout the state. We stopped at different locations. That tour ended up getting an award, a national award, Case Award, for the best marketing event, alumni event that they had here. So think about that. If I would have just said, you know what, let's get in our car and go to a place, that would have been okay. But remember I said over-deliver. We're not trying to be okay. How many people here want to be great? If everybody don't have their hand up, I'm in the wrong room. Not good, not solid, but great. When I worked here, I didn't want to be okay. I didn't want to color in between. I didn't want to color in between the lines. I wanted to color outside the lines. It was something that was ticking inside of me that said, I want to be great. And to be great, you have to ask yourself, how many times can I over-deliver? I don't do anything that's just, it's all right, or it's okay. To me, if somebody tell me that about some work I did, then I failed. I failed. I need to be here, and hopefully you will too. Hopefully that resonates. Everywhere you go, over-deliver. The final point I want to make, because I wanted you guys to ask lots of questions. That's the whole point of this. The final point I want to make is, there's so many different avenues to work in sports. Right now, at my school at Gulliver, we got a program coming up in 2 weeks. It's called Career in Sports Night. And with that night, we're going to have people come in. The keynote speaker is the president of the Miami Dolphins. General manager and president of the Miami Dolphins, his name is Tom Garfinkel. He's going to be the keynote speaker that night, so our students are getting a real treat. We've got people there from the Miami Heat, ESPN, all the major universities. It's going to be an amazing event. But the different areas that the students are going to learn to work in sports are awesome. I mean, we're going to have marketing, administration, coaching, sports medicine, psychology, sports law, sports analytics, player development, all those things, and those are just a few areas that you can work in sports. Everyone knows coaching, everyone knows athletic administration, but there's so many different areas that you can work in sports. So your sports comm majors, think about all those different things. I can send you that program so you can kind of see what that looks like. But think about all the different areas you can work in sports. And then when you think about that, think about how can I network within those different areas and connect with individuals in those areas. And I always say the networking isn't just giving somebody your card and saying, hey, here's my card. I'm Ira Childress. Great, see you. Well, guess what? That card goes in the garbage. They're not even thinking about you. When I was networking, and I still network, but when I was networking coming up, trying to make it, when I would give somebody my card, you know what I would follow up? I follow up with them, not an email, I follow up with a phone call. And I would keep calling back. They say, oh, you know, this person's busy. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to keep calling. And eventually I got through and got on their calendar, and I was able to have a conversation and say, hey, remember we met over here? And they said, oh, yeah, here's what I've been thinking. Can you tell me more about your career and the areas that, that you excelled in, some areas that maybe some pitfalls for you? And I get them talking. Before you know it, we were on the phone an hour. And now, guess what? they remember me. They say, oh, and then I would send them a note, handwritten note, from time to time. Say, hey, you know what? I was able to meet you. Remember, I talked to them. And then all of a sudden, we developed that relationship. And then, you know, it's authentic. It's an authentic relationship. It's more than just handing somebody a card saying, here, I'm so-and-so. That doesn't do it. So think about the different areas that you can work in sports, and then really go out and market yourself and connect and network and build those relationships. If you know, all the places that I've gotten opportunities and jobs is because I was able to network and connect with people. You know, when I got the call to go down to Miami to Gulliver, I got it from what they call a search firm. And the search firm called me and said, hey, listen, we've heard good things about you from different people in the industry. We feel like this job is probably, if not the best, one of the best in the country. Would you be interested in taking a look at it? And I said, well, sure. I definitely would be interested in taking a look. And so when they called, they said, we want you to come down in a couple of days. We're going to fly you down. They flew me down. I loved the place. It was amazing. It was in January in Michigan, kind of like it is now. I got off the plane. It was 80 degrees and sunny, and I was looking at the ocean. And I said, "Man, this is pretty good." And then one thing led to another, and then I ended up taking the job. But before I took the job, that same search firm, it was 2 other jobs that were in the running for me at the same time. So it was like a battle. And I told the upper administration at Gulliver, I told the head of schools, I said, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I like it here, but I got somebody in Chicago and in Los Angeles offering me the same thing. So I said, you know, my wife wanted to be maybe closer to home. He called me back that same night and said, hey, listen, this is what we can offer you. And I said, that's pretty good. I'll take it. So you just have to have that leverage and betting on yourself and understanding that. But none of those things come if you haven't made connections and you haven't over-delivered and you haven't done all the things we talked about in this short talk. They seem like small things, but believe me, they've carried me throughout my career and they got me to where I am today. So with that being said, I'm gonna stop talking now. I'm gonna open up the questions. Fire away. My next, at the level that I'm at now, this is the highest I can go. But my next, and I did get an offer like 3 months ago, but I wasn't ready to move. I just got to this job. But my next job would be in college athletics, back in college athletics.
Next.
When you had all those internships, because you had 3 in that 1 year, were you like just reaching out for them, or like did these people come to you?
No, they don't come to you at that point. They come to me now, but they didn't come to me then. They didn't come to me then. I reached out. One of them was set up. Dr. A set up one of them through our internship program, and the other 2, I reached out to them and said, "Hey, listen, how can I come and help?" And they said, "We don't have anything." I said, "Listen, I'm not looking for any money or anything. I just want to come and be a part of it and work." And they're like, "Oh, okay, well then come on." You know, so it was really, really good. But it was important. It was very important. But you have to be proactive. Questions?
What level in college are you trying to go to?
I'll probably end up Division I level, yeah.
How was the transition for you, your wife, and your kid going from Michigan to Florida?
Great. Great, yeah, great. No, it was, obviously we have family in Michigan, so that part was a little bit, that was probably the toughest part. But if you ever been to Miami, it's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful place. And the school that I'm at, it's a private school. We have so many resources. I have 3 ADs under me, a whole staff of people. I got like all the coaches, with everybody reporting to me, I got like 80 people reporting to me. So it's like, it's a great setup. It's an absolute great setup. So it's a totally different setup than a lot of places. We have, a lot of celebrities, kids go there. I mean, it costs $40,000 a year to go there, if that gives you any kind of idea what kind of school it's like. Probably more than Ferris. Other questions? Don't be shy. Put them all out there.
Do you have any regrets?
No, I don't live through regrets. You know, I mean, it's one of those things where, and you'll see in the book that I talk about some things that, you know, some real failures, you know, and some areas that I did not excel in, and that was important for me to put out there because we're all going to fail, and we're all going to fall down. But the idea is not to stay down, right? We're back up. We're back on it. So yes. I've had lots of setbacks and failures throughout life, but you keep pushing. Dr. A, remember all those failures? Yeah, you keep pushing. It's like a lifetime ago, though, right? Go ahead.
Do you see a difference in athletics between like Michigan athletes and Florida athletes?
Yes, in particularly, I mean, with this, you know, football, track. I mean, on our football team this year, we had like 16 Division I players. So you don't find that in Michigan that often, you know. So I mean, just guys, I mean, just talent all across the board, you know. So I think that in certain sports, the talent level is a lot. But in Florida, we play spring football. So we're going to be going here in a little while playing spring football. So you play year-round. They play 7-on-7 and year-round. So, you know, I mean, that's the big difference. And there's no snow there. You know what I mean? So that's the big difference. I think you can train and be outside year round. I mean, when I first got there, a funny story was they said, hey, we want you, we got the big golf outing coming up, we want you participating and all of that, and we got some people that want to play with you. I said, oh, that's great. I said, when is it? They said, oh, it's February 3rd. I was like, we playing golf? And they said, oh, yeah, this is Miami. Yeah, we playing, you know, but I had a Midwest moment there. But other questions? Industry questions. Anybody have questions about the industry or where you're trying to go? Or yeah, I mean, there's lots of internship opportunities out there in that. And I would advise you to look at that. You know what I mean, and take one. You know, and if you need to do something else financially on the side to do that, do that. But if you don't have a job, I would not just go work at somewhere that you have no interest in and not do anything in your field. If you have to do 2 jobs, that's fine. But make sure you do something in your field because you can get that experience. If that makes sense. So yeah, I would advise that. And there are internships out there that pay. So look for that too. When you're going. Other questions? Don't be shy. I know you guys have questions.
Go ahead. Do you guys do anything with media at your a big high school level like the one you're at?
Yeah, we have. When I got there, I hired full-time social media coordinator, and she does an outstanding job. She covers all of our sports and all different platforms. And think about that. That's a job that wasn't there before. It wasn't there 10 years ago. Now all of a sudden, you can make a career being on social media, being on your phone, taking photos, posting stuff, and she does an outstanding job with that. That's a full-time position. She's getting paid really good money and has really good benefits to be a sports social media coordinator for our program. So yes, we have that. Other questions? I saw. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, just a great experience at the NCAA. Had an opportunity to interface with so many different college athletic programs across the country and so many different unique experiences. One experience was really unique working there. When I was a kid, I always had a dream of making it to the NFL, playing in the NFL. I mean, I played college football, played high school football, was really, really good. So I was like, man, you know what? I'm going to make it to the NFL. I used to always tell my mom, hey, you know what? I'm going to make it to the NFL. And she was saying, hey, you know what? That's good, but keep working hard, stay on the books. You know, don't put everything into that. And so, you know, fast forward, I graduated from Ferris, had a couple of tryouts, but I didn't make it. You know, and that was to me a failure. That was heart-crushing failure. That, you know, and obviously most people don't make it. You know, so but it was still crushing. So when I got to the NCAA, they wanted me to do several programs, but with my football background, they wanted me to be a liaison with the NFL. So that was neat. So I was able to work with them on some programming. So I remember my first time, I got a call to say, hey, we need you to come to New York City. And so I flew on a plane, got to New York City, got to the NFL headquarters. At that time, it was at 280 Park Avenue. And I remember walking up the steps into the NFL headquarters, and I was able to meet all the big executives in the NFL. And it was so exciting. And I thought, man, look on the walls. They had all the great photos on the walls. And at that point, I went in the bathroom, and I got on the phone, and I called my mom. And I said, Mom, you never get. She said, what's going on? And I said, hey, Mom, I want to let you know I made it to the NFL. And she started crying, and she was so excited. So sometimes your dream, it will be a little bit of a detour, but you can still get to ultimately where you want to get to. And so when I put that on my resume, liaison to the NFL, that stands out. People look at that. They pay attention to that. So that's something that you always have. And those people who made it, some of those people actually end up working for me at the NCAA after they made it for a couple of years. They didn't work out, and so they had to come start all over again. So actually, I was ahead of some of them. So you never know where your dream will really, really take you, and it can ultimately take you where you want to take me. So hopefully that was the story you was looking for. But yeah, no, it's been my dream has taken me from a one bedroom, I don't know if you would call it a house, but a one bedroom place, public housing place, to where I'm at today. Is sometimes when I start walking down the street, or I'm going for my walk in the morning in my neighborhood, in the gated community, tears come to my eyes. And it's not tears of sadness, it's tears of joy. Because I know just 20 years earlier, the space that I was at. And what we had, and it was really nothing. I just had my mother's love, and that was really it. So but I always dreamed outside of my surroundings. So if you think what you are today is where you're going to be, then that's probably where you're going to be. But if you dream outside of those surroundings, great things can happen for you, if that makes sense. Other questions, industry questions. Who in here is trying to be great, trying to get those great opportunities? Do I have people in here interested in sports broadcasting? I was interested in more analyst work. I was interested in more actually sports talk radio. I was lucky enough to do my own sports talk radio show for a while, so that was fun. I was interested in that. But I like the analyst side of things more so than the play-by-play. I really like that the describing and what I was seeing. And really breaking it down and telling you why the Lions suck. I mean, I like that. More so. Other questions about who's sports administration? Are people interested in that track? Admin? No. Journalism? Maybe. Okay. You have an idea what area? Not really. Still looking into it? Okay.
You mentioned like celebrities. You said celebrities' kids go to your school? Yeah. Yeah. Did you?
No, I don't want to name them. Look it up. You can find it online. It's pretty easy to see. It's pretty easy to see online. Yeah. Look it up. Look it up. What other industry questions? What other sports psychology? Sports law, marketing, coaching. Yeah, no? Thinking about it? Okay. Athletic director? No? Thinking about it? So where are these sports comm folks going, Dr. A? What are some of the industries you guys are looking at?
I do like video production.
Video production? Okay. That's good. That's a growing field, man. You hit that at the right time. Video production with social media is always good. Other stuff. Broadcasting. Okay, that's good. Back there, anybody? Yeah. Game operation. Well, that's administration a little bit. Yeah, game operations. That's good. That's good.
Communication, public relations.
PR? Okay. Any other questions?
Besides networking and internships, what would you recommend as like the best way to get your foot into the door to get into the sports field industries? I guess just anywhere, just broad.
Yeah, those two are the main things. I mean, because that's so important. Obviously, while you're here, you want to do good work too. You know, I mean, you want to have a good resume while you're here. So when somebody calls Dr. A and say, hey, you know, tell me, what's your name? Tell me about Drew. They can say, she can say, oh man, he's outstanding. Or she can say, he has a dog, you know. I mean, but, you know, so you just, you know, you want to do well here. You really want to do well here.
Really building something for yourself more than having somebody put it towards you. You're building it more for
building that personal resume here, so you can say, hey, this is what I've done when you go somewhere. Because if not, that hurts you. So you want to build that personal resume here and say, hey, this is what I've done. Stepping out of your comfort zone. You know, like I was saying earlier, we wrote proposals while I was here, created a TV show. We did several things that I could put on that personal resume, so when I handed somebody, they say, oh, you were busy while you were on campus. You know? Can't get that as shooters. Yeah, I think job shadowing is good. You know, I mean, if you guys haven't done that, I think that's always good. When you do it, set it up so you can spend some time with the person afterwards. So it's not just like, hey, you come and tag along for a couple hours and hey, see you later. Because you want to have a checklist of things that you want to ask them after you do the job shadow. I think that's something that's very, very vital and very, very important. Other questions, industry questions?
I will impress upon these students how important it is that a Ferris education in this major can compete with any other program in the country.
Yeah, that's true. And by the way, Mr. Sneed back there is a legend. So you guys are you're in greatness. You're in a company of greatness. But yeah, this degree in the Ferris education is so important. And what I was telling someone earlier when I did a video was the experiential learning that we get here is better than anywhere else. And you know what I mean when I say experiential learning? That's something that's very, very important. That's where we can dig in. We can be hands-on here at Ferris State. We can be practical. Where a lot of places, they'll tell you about research and the books and this and that, but that's not the same thing as actually getting in there and doing it. You guys are doing it on a daily basis, and to me, that translates better than anything else. So yes, at Ferris State, our learning is different, and people love to hire Ferris State grads because they know they have that practical experience. And I know that's what Dr. Ray is giving you guys, that practical experience. They won't be asking you about, no offense, COM 300. I think that's exactly, you know, but they want that experience. Sorry, doctor, I had to get that. I still have nightmares about that class. Is that still the statistics? 299. Okay, 299. Yeah. So, other questions, industry questions. No, I thought I was prepared. I thought I was ready, you know, from Ferris. Now, depending on what experience you get out of it, you know, that'll tell you, hey, you know what, I'm ready. If you come and you kind of half do it, or you kind of, you know, you got to lead the way. Because here at Ferris, people aren't going to be beating your door down with ideas and stuff like that. It's got to be you that's beating their door down, saying, hey, listen, I have this idea. I want to do this. This is what I think about it. So you have to think about it in those terms. Other questions? Well, listen, you guys have been great. If anybody's interested in the book, we'll have it over there. If you have any other questions just in general, feel free to come talk to me. Thank you.